Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today, we're talking about prioritization and how to get on track. So without further ado, let's hop right in. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host and executive coach, Adam Melnick. With over a decade of experience in mental health, leadership, and coaching, I aim to help you understand leadership through a mental health lens. So let's sit back, relax, and have a chat. 80 years. 80 years is the average lifespan of a Canadian. That's 80 summers, 80 falls, 80 winters, and 80 springs. After that, you're done. Thanks for coming out. Do not pass go. Do not collect $100. You're done. It's over. As of writing this, or I should say, as of recording this podcast, I'm 32 years old. That means I have about 48 years of my life left. I'm not even halfway through my life. And every second I spend is a second I will never, ever get back. See, the most precious resource, both for you and your organization, is time. You can always make more money. You can always make more machines. You can always make more products, but you can never make more time. Time is finite, and you are always spending it. You may be spending it on YouTube. You might be spending it in meetings. You might be spending it reviewing emails, working out at the gym, recording a podcast. It doesn't matter. What matters most is that you are spending your time and that you are spending it on things you want to spend it on. You see, human beings often believe that whatever is happening now will continue on well into the future. This is a misconception. When you're in school, you believe that school will happen for the rest of your life. When you're working, you believe your job will continue forever. If you're being bullied, you believe that nothing will change and you will forever be bullied. But this isn't true. See, everything ends. This job you have will end. The relationships you create will all end. This time period of being bullied will end. And your life will end. This is a very important concept to understand before we get into time management. Knowing that you only have a finite time on this earth and everything's going to end, we need to effectively use your time to make the most of this. See, when I talk with leaders and managers, particularly new managers, they usually roll their eyes and scoff at me when I talk about time management. And the reason why they're doing that is because they do not understand that everything ends. There's only 8 hours in a workday. You only have 15 working hours each day to do things. And then it's over. It's done. You're finished. Which means that when you get thrown a bunch of meetings, tasks, and obligations, we have to pick and choose what's actually important in all this crap so we can effectively spend our time. So we make sure everything gets done before time runs out. Here's a great coaching question for you to think on. Imagine for a second that you realized you were done. Today, it's over. You've run out of time. this is it. What would you feel in that moment? I know for myself, I'd feel a lot of regret. Regret that I didn't pursue the things that were actually important, and I didn't prioritize the things that I needed to prioritize to make my dreams come true. Most leaders, they don't think about this. They think, oh, I can skip out on my child's birthday because I can always make it up later. Oh, I don't have to check in with this team member because they will always be at this organization. The reality is that's not true. If you're not there for your child's birthday, you're not there. You don't get to make that up. If you don't check in with your teammate who isn't doing so well, they may off themselves and that's it. You don't get another chance to fix that situation, to reconcile that relationship. It's important to understand this concept because once you truly understand that everything is finite, then we can start talking about time management and how to prioritize what is actually important. Because in this world, we are throwing too much shit. Your job throws too much crap at you. Your business throws too much crap at you. We need to figure out what is actually important and how to prioritize to make the most of a very finite resource. And how do we do that? The first thing to understand is that if everything is important, nothing is important. When I work with clients and we start doing time management, they'll give me a laundry list of all these important tasks that need done, like life or death. If I don't get these tasks done, it's it. It's over. I'm done. That's not true. Many of these tasks, many of these duties aren't that important. They can be delegated. They can be given to somebody else. And what I usually do with my clients is I sit down with them and we write out all the important tasks and duties that they have in their day. And then we start ranking them on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being this is important, and 10 being this is extremely life or death important. Usually through this process, we're able to uncover that about 50 to 60% of what people thought was important simply wasn't. In nursing, I have had, the honor or the privilege of seeing people go through life or death situations and watching them truly understand prioritization. It's funny how almost dying in a car crash makes you realize that what was actually important in your life, you were sidelining. Your job is not important. Your family was important. Making money wasn't important. Making relationships was. I find it amusing that it usually takes a life or death situation or a traumatic event for people to reprioritize their life to truly understand what was actually meaningful and important in their life. But to come back, the first step is understanding that not everything in your life is actually that important. We do this by ranking them out on a scale of 1 to 10. And then we sit back and we evaluate. And most clients will realize that, again, only about 40, maybe 30% of what they thought was important actually was. Once you see that, the next thing to start looking at is your goal. What is your goal? We talked about this at another podcast episode, but you should only have one goal. Most organizations create strategic plans or frameworks. This helps you reprioritize and reorganize what is truly important. If it's not feeding into the goal, it's simply not important. If your goal is to see friends and family as often as you would like, then why are we working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week? That is not important. What is important is prioritizing our family and friends. If we are prioritizing in our strategic plan, listening to our team members above all else, then why are we talking and monologuing to them? It's not important to do that. We need to be listening instead. We need to look at our one goal. Only one goal. Stop making a million different goals. We should only have one. We should only have one strategic plan. And through that one goal, that one strategic plan, we're going to have sub-goals that we need to complete along the way to that much bigger goal. Understand, where the hell are you going? Now that we know where you're going, we can now look at our list of really, really important things, and we could start slimming it down even further. We can now say, if our goal is to provide free education to the general population, then why are we doing a meeting about the lunch menu for the staff? Is this truly important? Or can we leave this in somebody else's hands? And that comes up to the next point. We need to learn where to delegate. In our professional lives, we need to understand, do we need to go to this meeting, or can I give this to a team member? Remember, you hired these people. These people are competent. They are top of their class. They are there to help you. So how do we delegate to them to leave us time for what's actually important within our lives? But it's not only delegating at work. It's learning to delegate in your home life as well. A fabulous example of this is investing for the future. I personally don't have time to monitor the stock market and invest. So I delegate. I have a stockbroker that invests on my behalf. I understand I can't become an expert in this, so I must delegate. I don't understand research or how to do research, so I intentionally hired somebody that does. I delegated those responsibilities to them. Many leaders take on too much shit and they don't know how to delegate. Remember, your people are competent. They are smart. In your personal life, your spouse is a competent, smart individual that can help support you. Learn to delegate. The next thing is we actually need to schedule our breaks. Many leaders are terrible at this. They tend to work through their breaks. The research is clear. You do not perform well without breaks. The human brain simply cannot focus on one thing for hours on end. It just can't. It needs breaks. It needs variety. It needs time to rejuvenate. You have to schedule your breaks so you can be at the top of your game. The next thing we need to do is we need to start compounding all of our tasks. I see many leaders, what they'll do is they'll walk off to a meeting in one building, and then they'll come back to their office to use the washroom, and then they have to walk to a different building for a meeting, and then they're coming back to the office, And then they're going off to another building for another meeting. Compound all this crap. Make sure the time between your meetings is long enough so if the meeting runs late, you're fine. But also that you can just walk from one meeting to the next meeting without having to make a stop in at the office. Compound the tasks together. Stop wasting time doing all these stupid tasks separately. Do them all at once. When you're in one area of your facility, when you're in one area of your home, do the tasks that are associated with that area before you move on. Save your time. Next, we time block. Time blocking is intentionally putting in your calendar what you are going to do and protecting it. Protecting it. This means that if you're going to do a performance review, you time block the 2 hours and you make sure that those 2 hours are protected. Somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey man, can you look at this?" The answer is nope, I have to do a performance review. "Hey, can you do this?" Nope, it's a performance review. Time block. If you have your son and or daughter's birthday coming up, you time block that birthday and then you make sure you attend. Many leaders are guilty of something coming up because it always will. There will always be something that is going to come up and demand your attention. I promise you that. And then they reprioritize to something that is not important, like completing a memo. And they put what's actually important, which is your son and or daughter's birthday, in the back seat. What? Don't do this. Protect that time. The next thing that we need to do is stop multitasking. Jeez Louise, if I have to listen to one more person tell me that they are a multitasker, I might bang my head into the wall. You are not a multitasker. You never have been a multitasker. The amount of actual multitaskers on this planet is less than 1%. And I'm sorry, you're not it. You are the statistic. You are the 99%. You are not that 1%. Sorry to tell you this. What you are actually doing in your multitask is think of a light switch. You're either turning it on or off. You are either doing the task or you're not. When you're texting, you're either focusing on the text or you're listening to the person beside you. You are not doing both. So what your brain does is it swaps rapidly between the two. And what you'll notice is that you are not prioritizing what is important. You don't know how. And you do both tasks shitty. You do them so poorly. And you think you're doing a great job. I know you are, but you are not. You're screwing both sides up. Stop multitasking. Work with yourself. Stop fighting who you are. Focus on one task at a time. As I'm recording this podcast, I am talking to you. I'm not petting my cat, Gary. I'm not on my phone. I am focused on recording this. I'm not splitting my goddamn time. Stop it. Focus on one thing at a time, because if you screw up while you're multitasking, guess what? You've just made more work for yourself, which means less time for what's truly important. And then lastly, and you guys might find this helpful, there are categories that we look at to determine what's actually important. There are 5 of them. The first and most important category is things that you need to do to survive. This is sleeping. This is eating. This is using the washroom. This is making sure you have clothes and shelter. Your team also needs this need met. This is a priority. This is number 1 priority. If you don't meet this need, I'm sorry, you're never going to succeed. And your team won't succeed either. The second category is things that you do for fun. We need to recharge. We need to rejuvenate. We need to enjoy life. This is where team building lives. This is where socializing with your team members is. This is where being with a spouse or a loved one and going on dates live. We need to make sure this category is fulfilled. The third category is things that you need to do to accomplish your goals. Never do anything without a goal. You need that purpose. Same thing with your business and or organization. Everything that you need to do should be feeding into that one goal, that one strategic plan. Do not do things aimlessly. The fourth category is things you need to do within a month. This is an important category because this is how you maintain your relationships. Your mom, your dad, when was the last time you talked with them? You should be talking with them once a month. When was the last time you went on a date with your significant other? We need to maintain these relationships because they will be helpful to you down the road. And then the last category is things that you need to do within the year. This is finding a financial planner, saving money, getting a new home. These are important goals that we need to get done, but they're not urgent. We have a lot of leeway with these goals. We only have to complete them within the course of a year. And this is the fundamentals of time management and reprioritization. To wrap up, understand that everything is finite in your life. We don't have time to be wasting on things that simply do not matter. The first thing to understand is, what is your goal? What is your strategic plan? If your tasks or your job or whatever the hell you're doing isn't lining up with those goals or strategic plan, it's useless. Throw it out. Learn to delegate. Schedule your breaks. Compound your tasks. Time block. And stop multitasking. I really hate multitaskers, by the way. Next, split everything you're doing into those 5 categories. Those are the categories that are actually important in your life. All this extra stuff is not. And always be evaluating where you are. Are you on the right track? Are you on the right trajectory? And so with that, we'll end today's podcast. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, give it a like, and share it with a friend. And if you're ready to take the next leap and improve your leadership skills, head over to www.seedingthelead.com and book your free coaching session today.